Okay, I'm back. Same day. Still sitting in the same spot. May, what? 7th, 2025, second video. So, I think I came up with a kind of a good idea. Alright. So, we know why I'm doing what I'm doing here when it comes to this stuff, right? Now, these are a form of a Mylar bag. Okay? Because, like, I do plan on, like, pre-making our own from time to time versus relying on having to purchase all the time. Not to say that I wouldn't, right? To buy, you know? I mean, once you deplete what you have, you're going to want to replace it one way or another. So you're either going to pay, or you're going to create your own little packets, right? And what do you call it? Maybe buy a few in between, or maybe never buy again. I don't know. I guess it depends on what you do. For me, I think, like, for example, right now, and I have Mylar bags, because I bought kits of them when I first started out, with all these smaller little ones that I haven't used them. I don't know what to do with them. Where they are, honestly, I don't know. For all I know, that bitch could have stole them. Not that she would want Mylar bags, because, you know, she wouldn't know what to do with them. She steals other people's Mylar bags. Right along with their home canned goods and their buckets of honey and, you know, that kind of shit, right? So, okay. So I know I have my Mylar bags about this size. So when I find them, I am definitely going to pull them out. And then some of this miscellaneous stuff that I have kicking around as my, you know, I'm going through my room, like bags of rice and, you know, that kind of stuff, right? Like sometimes, like I just did the amaranth and the big bag of paper, you know, the big paper bag, the 25-pound bag that it came in is still a little bit left over at the end of the bottom of the bag. That would be a good time to fill up little Mylar bags with that amaranth. And remember when I did all that dehydrating of those frozen vegetables, or the broccoli, or the beans, or whatever it was that I was doing, and I got them in the one-size gallon jars, which that girl did steal a couple of those jars. I know she did. But she's going to have to fucking hide it for the rest of her freaking life. How is she going to explain to teach me? I seen your mom have them, so I decided to go off and buy a whole bunch of jars just like her, because I wanted to grow up to be just like her and have food security in my house. But I just won't tell you I stole it from your mom. Just saying. Well, anyway, I've got those dehydrated vegetables sitting in a jar. Quite a few of them. And this would be a perfect opportunity, not now, but in the next month or two, as I gather things up, right? Because you know, you do a little here, a little there, you have to gather things up, and eventually you have everything you need to do what you got to do or you want to do, right? Well, in this situation, I have the dehydrated vegetables, no prob, and I got them in bulk, no prob, and nothing easy. It's easy enough to replace no prob after the fact. I have the Mylar bags, I just have to find them. I've got plenty of miscellaneous amaranth and, you know, whatever is in, you know, the leftovers as I'm doing the food prep and putting it away. I would use those first to build on little homemade sidekicks, right? And then, of course, you know, we have the, I already stocked up on this shit. All kinds of different kinds. You've seen me do this, right? Okay, right? So these are the things that you've seen me make in jars and put away, and I haven't made gravies yet, but I've got the arrowroot fucking lots of it. How come the bitch didn't run off with the arrowroot? I don't want to, arrowroot powder, starch, right? Sitting right there in a bucket. I guess it was too much up in our faces for her to run off with it. But the point is I got a lot of arrowroot for thickener. I have tapioca starch for thickener. I have, what is that called? Cornstarch for thickener, which she may have walked off with one of those. Either or. Of course, we've got flour, and then what else? I've got, when I was dehydrating potatoes, I have my own potato starch, which could be used as a thickener, right? And then, so I've got dehydrated freaking cottage cheese, sour cream. This is the time, and this is a good way to because when you're dehydrating and you're right over it starts to pile up and it becomes obnoxious, especially if you're living in a confined space. But on the other hand, in a situation like this, I'm actually excited to finish up doing what I'm doing, and then as I'm doing it, everything that I want to use to make my own little sidekicks, right, with the Mylar bags that I already have, right? I've got the dehydrated sour creams and cottage cheeses. I can dehydrate cheese because I've got cheese downstairs that needs to be dehydrated. So I've got the cheeses, right, covered. I've got powdered milk, whole milk, skim milk. So all that is covered. I've got the dehydrated vegetables. We've got corn, sweet corn, peas, baby peas. We've got beans. We've got broccoli. We've got cabbage. And if I want something else like carrots, I probably have them, but I kind of grounded those up for Amari, which I could use as a powder in something like this, right? You know what I'm saying? So as I'm sorting out my room, and how am I gonna? It's like an engine. It's like an engine. Think of an engine at the bottom of a big, big boat. Or think of the engine that runs the train with, I don't know how many cabs that it's pulling, but it's pulling a lot of freaking cabs, okay? Almost to the max. So if it can pull 50 cabs, it's pulling 50. If it can pull 100, it's pulling 100. If it can pull 200 cabs, that motor is able to do that. This is what I'm working on, is the motor right now, right? And I'm greasing it here and fine-tuning it there, making sure the bolts are tight, right? You know what I'm saying? Making sure that all the fluids are topped off, and okay? So I'm actually excited to do this because, I'm looking at this stuff and it's like in my way, and I'm like, oh my God. But at the end of the day, do you know how easy it would for me to just go into my room, grab the shit that I need? I'm telling you, people, and make these for myself, and I can still buy them. Maybe just not as much. And if they ever disappear because of what's going on in the world, Andre will know how to make them, because it's kind of point of the exercise. This is just to get him started, to think about the different things that he can do. This, right? This takes away the frustration of the learning process when you're starting out from the beginning. After using, and I got 40 more ready to order, and I did. I paid $1.77. These were not on rollback. Those little packets of gravy mixes were on rollback, but these weren't. So I was willing to pay $1.77 for these, just so that, one, it's convenient, Andre can eat, we can eat, Amari can eat. Or, we can use it for meal planning, right? And then, and because we're cooking now for them downstairs, that's 5 adults, you can say, and Amari, right? So you're going to need at least 2, maybe 3, depending on what you want. Or at least 2, and then add in some extra noodles. But when it comes to, like, the chicken, do you know how easy it is for me to go to my room and, I don't know how many jars of chicken I have left that I can, because that bitch walked off with my shit. Right? But I can always recant it once I get organized, and if I want it, that's not a problem. And I'm sure I can, there's a few jars of chicken in there, and I've got other jars of chicken around the house, so I'm not too worried about it. The point is it's home canned. Okay? You make up one of these. Well, 2. You'd have to do 2. Because my son is big, okay? And, you want to fill him up, right? You know what I'm saying? Whoever's eating it. You don't want to be chintzy on it. So we'll say 2 of these. So $1.77, so that's $3 and some odd cents, right? $3.50 as a base. Okay? That should be more than enough to have as a base. What is it? I don't know what it is. It looks like maybe macaroni. So, okay, so you go off and you boil an extra 1 cup of macaroni per bag. So you do like raw, right? 2 cups boil, and then that you're going to add to this. Okay? Do you see where I'm going with this? As a meal, okay? And that's nothing in terms of pennies on the dollar when you're buying macaroni. And if you want, you can even make your own by rolling out some dough with some egg dough, right? To make a noodle, right? And you can do, you know how you take flour, salt, and then you crack eggs, you mix them up, and then you can just mix everything up, and then you take a spoon and you scoop up, the dough as is, and you put it in boiling water, and you boil it so it comes out with these little chunky egg chunk noodles, whatever you want, okay? You could do 4 to 6 eggs, 4 to 6 eggs, with, just one cup of flour or whatever. Okay, so you got 2 cups of flour. You've got 2 cups of flour, and that's you might end up using 8 eggs for something like that. So we'll just say 1.5 cups of flour, and then how many eggs it takes to make that, right? So that you can scoop it up and put it in boiling water, cook it, and then as this is cooking, okay, you cook these separate. You've got your noodles. Whether it's more macaroni that's been cooked up in a separate pot, or whether it's the egg noodle that I just told you about, which would actually be very nice with this, which I would recommend Andre to learn how to do. And then you grab a jar of home canned chicken, you put that in its own little pot, you bring it to a boil, you put your lid on, you turn it down, you make sure you cook it, don't lose your freaking liquid. And then after, you've done your 10-minute debotulism, just in case it might be there, kill it off routine, because that's the best and the safest way to deal with home canned goods, is just a given. You take that little bit of liquid and you just add a little bit of gravy mix to it, and you're good to go. And then you mix it in with this. You don't even mix it, you just kind of toss it in so that you have little chunks of egg noodle with this, and the chicken from the home canned goods of you, which brings in more chicken to this, because this is chicken, right? Okay, do you see where I'm going with that? And then you make your little side dish salad, right? Whether you use a sidekick or you make your own sidekicks, like I just told you how to do with the dehydrated vegetables and miscellaneous rices that you got in the house, or whatever. In regards to dehydrated meat, and I might do this, it depends. It depends how far I go with making my own, because, obviously I'm doing it to teach Andre how to do it, so that he has that skill, right? What do you call it? Let's just say 6 months goes by, and I have now time to do this. I'm caught up with other things, because for what I have, I don't need to do it just yet, because, I'll have more than enough to get me through, right, for the next 6 months to a year, depending on how fast we use them. At least 6 months anyway. And that's feeding 5 people each meal. Okay. So 6 months goes by, and I'm down to half. Let's just say I'm down to half. And I don't want to rebuy. I want to now do what I want to do. And even if I did it sooner than that, like in 2 or 3 months after I'm caught up, just to get moving things with other things like the dehydrated sour creams and those. I'd like to start using those things. This might be the way, making these things might be the way to make it easier on myself to use these things, right? Pre-packaged already. So we'll just say in the next 2 or 3 months, I'm going to go off and I'm going to make my own. And we've got the powder milk, so no, we've got the rices, we've got the noodles, blah, blah, blah. We've got the vegetables, blah, blah, blah. We've got the gravy mixes, blah, blah, blah. We've got the starches, blah, blah, blah. We got everything that we need except the dehydrated chicken. So, if I had to choose dehydrating my own chicken and attempting to add it to something that I made like this at home, honestly, I'd go out of my way to buy freeze-dried. I'd go out of my way to find somebody that can sell me little pieces of cut-up freeze-dried chicken for what I'm doing at home for my family. And as it is right now, that would be the only thing that I would have to invest in when the time comes to do this. So in that situation, maybe I'll I'll just see if Canadian's Prepper, because he sells freeze-dried food, right? I'll just see if I can buy some freeze-dried chicken and freeze-dried beef, because those can last for 25 years in a Mylar bag. So if one gets lost and you come back 5 years later, you know that the product inside is good because you didn't dehydrate your own chicken and somehow it went rancid over a period of 5 years, versus putting in freeze-dried chicken with what you did. Yeah. See, a hoarder wouldn't think like that. Oh, God, no. They'd be like, fuck that. No. And then, of course, now, I mean, times are tough. Okay? Times are tough. So, if you wanted to get thrifty, or just even try it, right? And if you wanted to repurpose these bags, let's say you go off and you buy 40 for yourself, versus cutting the bag, crunching up and throwing in the garbage, maybe you might want to try and just do a nice little straight cut, right? Oops. Right? Wash the inside with warm, soapy water. You need the soap to cut the grease. If for any reason there's grease in here, and there probably is, because they probably use soy oils or something like that. Let's read. Let's see what the ingredients are. Wheat pasta, I have tons of that. Cornstarch, got that. Sugars, I got all kinds of sugars. I got really good sugars. Okay, the sugars that they use probably isn't as good as the sugars that I have. They called it maltodextrin. I can use maple sugar, panela sugar, brown sugar, white sugar, coconut sugar. These are just some of the things off the top of my head, right, that I can use if I wanted to. All right, we know we got tons of salt in the house. Skim milk I have, and it really doesn't go bad. So even if it's old, I'd still use it. Monosodium glutamate. I actually have some of that up there in the cupboard. Dried carrots, easy enough to do. Chicken fat. Well, before I go off and put chicken fat in mine, I'd go off and look for freeze-dried chicken or freeze-dried beef, and I would use that for what I'm doing. Onion powder, easy enough to find. Sodium citrate. Well, you could add in like 1/8 of a teaspoon or just a pinch of citric acid, or there's two types, right? One is more for the preserving of the color to prevent oxidization, where the other one is to bring up the acidity. I have both. Okay. Potassium chloride, don't know what that's for. Sodium citrate, okay. Silicone dioxide. Now this stuff is to help. Some of this stuff is to help to prevent caking and stuff like this, okay? Obviously as a preservative. Dried parsley, easy enough to do. Spices, easy enough to do. Yeast extracts, you could just put in freaking, what is that called? I have yeast something, I don't know. Disodium phosphorate, which would probably be a sodium, right? Spices, spice extract. Contains milk, easy enough. Wheat, easy enough. So easy. But I wouldn't put home dehydrated meat in it. Everything else is fine. But if you're going to do something like this for yourself, then yeah, I'd invest into a freeze-dried meat, whether beef, chicken, or whatever it is, okay? And then, you know, if you're on a tight budget, maybe buy a few of these, try it out. I'm going to try it out. I don't know if it will work, but after you open the package, you wash it. You'd have to use soap and soapy warm water on the inside. Although this is a form of a Mylar bag, but it has a paper coating on it. Okay, I got an old one here that's been around forever, and the bag itself is already getting compromised. But this thing has been kicking around for a very long time. I mean, it's been kicking around so much that it's already ripped. Okay, you can see. So let's just see what this is about. Let's see, because it's a cross between a Mylar. I don't think it's plastic. Yeah, it's a form of a Mylar, but it's very, very thin. Okay, very, very thin. But, you know, times are getting tough, right? So, if all you had was to repurpose the bag, reuse the bag, you could, in theory, I would think, for at least one time. I don't think it would last 2 times because you'd have to wash it twice. And the water will deteriorate the outside very quickly, and because it's so thin, I don't think it would hold up for the test of time. As if you had, like, the other Mylar bag, the actual Mylar bags that I have, I could reuse them probably a few times over, right? Okay, so what I'm trying to say is, you can buy a few of these, use them. As soon as you're done opening and emptying, open it up, put some warm soapy water, whoosh it around real fast, right? Rinse it out real fast, and then open it up and put it over something so it can air dry, and then let it drip dry out for sure, right? And then after that, when it's almost, when it appears to be dry, okay? Turn it around and make sure it's open so it can air dry. Then you have yourself a makeshift Mylar bag where you can look around in your house and you can think, oh my God, that rice has been sitting there forever. And I know I have some, what is that called? Skim milk that's been like there 5 years. And I've got tons of flour, so that's not a problem. You know, and I've got some old bouillons up in my cupboard. Or I can just go off and buy, you know, a few, you know, these kind of things. All right, for yourself, okay? And you could make your own. And then to seal it, well, these are like a heat seal. And when you're using a Mylar bag, which I need to order a flat iron. I had curling iron sets in my room. I don't know if I brought them into the sewing room. If not, that bitch stole them because I haven't seen them. But they're curly, so it's better to have a flat iron. So I'm gonna order a flat iron curling iron to seal up the Mylar bags, depending on what I'm doing. Normally I don't, but for a situation like this, you'd have to seal it up, okay? Because there will be no zip to do it. And then after you've done it, if you're still kind of feeling insecure about the process, you could put these in vacuum seal bags, because you push out as much air as you could. Then you could seal it with the curling iron, because it more than likely would melt. If this melted here already, I would think it's just you might have to put because we don't know what's on the outside. There could be a plastic here that could get on your curling iron. So I would put maybe like parchment paper, just right, or maybe wax paper. Well, parchment paper, just in the event, or just do a test first to see if it melts into the curling iron, because you don't want to ruin your curling iron, right? Otherwise, put just fold over a piece of parchment paper and then seal it with your curling iron. And if you really wanted to put them away for long-term food storage and you were concerned, you could put them into vacuum seal bags and then vacuum seal the whole thing. They'll last forever, especially if you're using newer products. I would only do this exercise. One is to teach Andre how to be thrifty, because we will do it. Because when he starts using these, I'm going to ask him specifically to make it nice cut and to bring up the bag after or downstairs while he's right. He can learn how to wash these things and get them air drying, so that after we have about maybe 20 of them, or even 10 for that matter, I could be like, okay, well now we're going to make 10 of our own, 20 of our own, and we're going to try and use these first before Nana has to go out and spend another $30 for Mylar bags, because I've already used all mine, right? Just saying, for those people with lots of money, they don't need to worry about that shit. For people with one or two feeding in the household tree, they don't need to worry about that shit. So I am thinking to order 40 more. I think it's worth $1.77. I go with the little bit larger grammage in terms of what's inside the bag. I'm specific to do the, I just got like things with chicken in it, right? But I already got the chicken covered, because one jar of home canned chicken, whether it's a 1 size liter jar or 500 mils, a pint. A pint could go, you could spread a pint of home canned chicken between 2 or 3 of these bags, and you can feed 5 people plus, no problem, not including your vegetables or your salad or whatever it is, right? So I think that's a really good idea. And if you're concerned about the economy and the cost of food, well, here's an idea for you to do something about it. In terms of having that little bit of backup in your house. But always keep in mind that people are going to get jealous of you. That is very freaking apparent. And they will find a way to steal from you if they think they can. Okay? I never used to talk about that shit. Nope. Never. Not until fucking Rhea showed up and did what she did. Now that's always going to be at the top of my list. If you're going to do any kind of food prep, yeah, be prepared to be called this, be prepared to be called that, blah, blah, be accused of this, be accused of that. But at the end of the day, they might be the ones that are plotting and scheming how to steal from you. And it might take them a few years to position themselves exactly where they think they can be to do it. And when they do it, they'll do it fucking fast. and they'll play the victim card that they didn't do it, right? But at the end of the day, it is a risk that you have to take, right? Do you know how easy it would be for me just to stop buying and just give up and forget about it? Like, what the hell? Why would I want to buy this to have some bitch come into my house and steal this too? Well, her food is eventually going to, well, it's not her food, it's my food. The food that she stole from my house will eventually run out. Or mine won't. See, that's the thing. Mine won't. And I'm making plans to make it for myself. And I'm making plans to teach my grandson how to do it. To which I'm going to leave this video. Maybe I'll just keep it short, eh? Why don't we just keep it short? Or maybe we'll just see what happens. Maybe I'll come back and do more, or talk about something else. This is just ideas, right? But maybe when Andre's downstairs cooking, he can live stream on Amari's side dish. He's cooking. He's learning how to cook for Amari, right? That will motivate him to get more involved with those calorie counts for Amari and the right textures and stuff. If he's cooking, has his little cooking show on Amari's side dish, because you know Amari's going to be eating it, then that sets the stage for him to grow up and always think about Amari and get better at his game when it comes to cooking for Amari. Yeah, that'll work out really good. So I'll see what everybody says about that. Andre can live stream himself. Right? So we'll work on Amari's side dish. Yeah. So I want to count how many of these. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, make sure they're all the same. Right? Because I would suspect 2 or 3 will be taken out at a time and used for one meal with additions to it. Creamy chicken, creamy chicken, creamy chicken, creamy chicken. So in this situation, after these bags are done, I want to make my own. I can put chicken in here, but before I put chicken in here, I'd go off and buy some freeze-dried chicken to add in with everything else that I add in. Whether it's in these bags or other Mylar bags. I'm going to try these bags just for fun and as a cost-saving measure. Do I expect them to last for a long time? No. Can I get 1 or 2 uses out of them? Well, 1 for sure, outside of the first time it's being used. 2 maybe. Maybe. Right? And, oh my God, pay attention. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, there's supposed to be 10, but sometimes Walmart doesn't give me everything. Right? And because the women there, they know me, they just top me off with something else. Like, for whatever strange reason, I got 1,000,000 of these. Because I guess they ran out. I don't know where it went. I guess they ran out. So they just topped me off with this. But the grammage on this isn't too bad. This one is 162 grams. So, I don't mind. So we're 8, 9. This should be 10 chicken. I don't see 10 chicken here. But I'm going to order 10 more of this creamy chicken. There it is. And then a different kind of chicken. With adding chicken to it when it's being cooked. Whether it's chicken from the freezer, fresh chicken, or whether it's from a home canned jar. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. So this bag here only has 10 chicken things in it. So I am going to 1, 2, 3. Oh my God. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10. So this bag only has 10 of these. So I'm going to order 10 more because that's only 3 meals. That's going to go, like, once this shit starts, you know, you figure 2 times a month, 2 times a week, once a week, right? If you wanted a little leftover, you could do 4 bags, you know, versus 3 bags. Do 2 first, see how much you get for 5 people, and, you know, a child, like 5 adults, and then 1 child, right? So that's really 6 people. Do 2 bags first, try that out, and then try 3 bags out, and then if you wanted some for leftover for the next day, then you do the 4th bag. So you could see how fast it would go if you were starting to do that. And the same thing would apply as if you were making your own as well. You'll make them into these size packages, keeping in mind that you're going to either use them as a single package, a double package, a triple package, or use 4 packages at one time. So I'm really excited to do that in the future. So I'm glad I bought these. Paying $1.77, I have no problem with it. I didn't have a problem with it then, and I don't have a problem with it now. I think it's a fair price. And considering what you can do with them and how you're going to do them, you know, it makes sense. At least to me, it makes sense. And you might even be able to recycle these bags and make your own. Otherwise, you'll have to invest into Mylar bags, which once you invest into them, you're good. And oxygen absorbers. Because after this is done, I am just going to put some oxygen absorbers in here. Seal it up. I get the Mylar bags with the zippers. You can see that, right? Seal it up and then leave it undisturbed for a couple of 2-3 weeks, so that if for some reason a moth got in there as I was doing what I'm doing right now, right, it's going to be dead. Or if for some reason you missed a weevil egg or something on the packaging, just because, you know, food attracts bugs. Food also attracts thieves. So, you know, you might want to make sure that you put a bloody deadbolt on your freaking pantry room to keep the fucking thieves out. Seriously. And keep your other rooms locked. And be very wary of who you think is a so-called friend, if you want to call them that. You know, don't be so quick to be so gullible, because they're ruthless. Okay, it takes a pretty ruthless person to do what Rhea did to me. And I don't care what my daughter says in terms of, you know, oh, you're trying to make me, what is that? Have a strained relationship with her. You're ruining my relationship with her. No, I'm not ruining my relationship with her. She is ruining her relationship with you, because I ain't gonna let her fucking live this down. I'm sorry, you go into people's houses and you want to steal $8,000 to $10,000 worth of shit because you're a fucking tweaker that's out of control. Well, you got another thing coming, okay? It will be like Shimei. No justice, no peace, right? I will always talk about what happened to Shimei. Yeah, she was murdered. She was murdered by a fucking goofball who thought that they could control her, and they couldn't, so they decided to take her out because there was more than one. He had help. It was premeditated. And then the minute she was dead, they thought they could walk off with Amari. But that didn't happen. Yeah. But Andre is doing a really good job. So I think I'm going to hook him up. I'm going to talk to him about it today. When you do your little live stream, when you go downstairs and you start cooking today, why not do a little live stream on Amari's side dish? As the beginning of your humble beginning. Because he's a greenhorn, right? He's not going to know what he's doing down there. He'll be like... But give him 6 months. He'll be getting good at it. Wait till we start making chocolate-covered raisins. That's so good. I can hardly wait. And we don't have to make them round. We can just use a candy mold and put the raisins inside the candy mold and pour the chocolate. Boom! You got chocolate-covered raisins. Now we'll go on Amari's side dish. Why not? And I'll teach him how to make an icing that can go on top of them. I like a really nice icing. Just a very thin layer of icing. I have icing sugar. Yeah, we could do a maple icing sugar over chocolate-covered raisins. Wouldn't that be good? And put that up on Amari's side dish. So that Andre grows up with a very good self-esteem. And we'll be able to cook for Amari. Which he's starting to learn. But, you know, it's a never-ending process, right? Because, you know. So, yeah, that sounds really good. So maybe I'll just keep this video as is, okay? I'm like, do you see me crashing here? I'm like exhausted, and it's like, I don't even know what time is it, 8:30 in the morning. Let's go see, let's go to the computer and go see what I'm going to order. I just seen more. Here's another one. Oh, what's this? Oh no, that's the honey garlic. Okay, so we only got 10. We only got 10 in there. So you see, I can fill it up. I want to fill it up. Okay? 10 of that. I don't know what's in there, but a whole bunch in there. And then we've got something in there. I haven't really quite figured it out yet. In terms of, I don't write it down. I'm just putting them in categories. And then we got a whole bunch of honey garlic for whatever strange reason. So I think we're going to have extra honey garlic. So hopefully they won't give me any more honey garlic. And teriyaki isn't really my style. Plus I've got teriyaki sauces and stuff. I buy it not for me, but for other people maybe. So I'm going to let's go see what I'm thinking to buy. Hold on. So yeah, it's 8:30 in the morning and I've been up since like 4 or something. So Knorr Sidekicks chicken pasta. Okay. I don't have that one. I've got the creamy one. Chicken fried rice. A fair amount of grammage. Tomato Alfredo pasta. I thought I'd try that. So that's, right, that's four different kind for $70 at 10 each. But once I'm done, alright, and I might even get 10 more and just cut to the chase, because I already know what I'm going to do with them. And I'll keep an eye open for those Mylar bags, and when I find them, then I'll attempt to make my own with the miscellaneous stuff that's spilling over in terms of, you know, bags of rice that, or pieces, you know, little like the amaranth and leftover, and or whatever, or whatever, or whatever, right? And that's what I'm going to do. But right now I don't have time for that, so I'm not too worried about it. And I am going to price out freeze-dried chicken and just freeze-dried beef. And I'll see if maybe I might purchase that in 6 months from now or something, or 3 months from now. And so when I make my own little packets to replace what I bought as it's being used, right, I have it. And then that's when I'll do it. Yeah. I think that's a good idea. Yeah. Whereas other people just want to go to the grocery store and buy 2 bags. And then, I don't know. See, I should get 10 more creamy chicken. Creamy Parmesan. See, I want the chicken. But I'm still going to add my own chicken in with it. Some way, somehow. And I like the egg noodle idea that it is in a spoon versus being rolled out and chopped. You just mix it up and scoop it up and put it in boiling water or a broth if you want it with a broth. And then there's chicken pasta. Which one do I want? The creamy chicken is more grammage for the money. So I'm going to get 10 more creamy chicken. Now we're at $88.50. So, if Andre wanted to cook up 3 or 4 of them for a meal for the family once a week, it doesn't bother me. You got lots, go ahead. That's what I bought it for. If he wants to eat 1 or 2 upstairs with us, like Amari and myself, or himself, or whatever, right? He can do that too, and it's still not going to bother me. But sooner or later, it's going to start to go down, right? So I'm either going to replace in bulk, or I'm going to make in bulk. And we know I'm leaning more towards making in bulk to utilize what I already have in the house. And I think that's a good idea. Yeah, I do. Okay, so this is the next video on this subject of sidekicks. Hoarding them at that. I just went on to Canadian Prepper's website. Here we got, we don't want the Alfredo pot. We just want straight up freeze-dried chicken so that I can add it into the things that I'm working on at home, right? And I'm not making mine per se for long-term food storage as I would be for the convenience of it and to have the bulk so that, you could, remake every 3-4 months kind of thing, right? Depending on how often you're going to use them. Okay. Nutri-Store freeze-dried grilled chicken, number 10 can. $118. So I don't know how many pounds, probably not very much, but it's not the point. It's not what you need, right? I mean, it's not, it's what you need, but you have to pay for the product because it's freeze-dried, right? It's dehydrated specifically to not spoil. Freeze-dried chicken, coconut. I don't know what curry. No, I'm not. I just want straight up chicken. Here we go. Freeze-dried diced chicken. Okay, $114. So let's go look at it first of all and see what it says. What do you think? In 2 months from now, it's not a problem for me to do that. Find the Mylar bags, use some of those packets, try and recycle some of those packets just to see how it goes, right? Gather up my rices and my whatever, my starches, my milk products that are dehydrated, whatever it is, and see, 25-year shelf life. Quick and easy preparation, all white meat, fully cooked, excellent source of protein. Rehydration, well, you would just cook it up as is, as you would anything else when it comes to that kind of stuff. Okay, now if you wanted an instant rice, you pre-cook your rice and then you dehydrate your... If you wanted to put an instant rice without buying an instant rice into what I'm talking about here, as you make your own, you cook the rice and then you dehydrate the rice and then you use that as instant rice. And in a situation like that, I'd cook brown rice, I would dehydrate it, and then I'd mix up my little stuff with a few pieces of dehydrated chicken along with, well, freeze-dried chicken, there's a difference, right? And then dehydrated broccoli chunks or whatever I've got, and try and eat that up within a year. And if it's becoming a staple, and it helps with food prep, like dinners, like it helps with making a dinner with less preparation, then why not? Why not? So I don't know how many pounds are in here. Does it tell you? It doesn't tell you. How many pounds? 1 pound of chicken? It just says number size 10 can. That can mean anything. Okay, let's maybe look at this. The nutritional facts. Let's look at the nutritional facts. As if you can see them. Maybe I can see them through the screen. I can't. Let's just maybe just see. Okay, 130 calories. 20 servings per container. Okay. Per serving is 130 calories. There's 20 servings. So you make 20 as a half a cup. Okay. Okay. So you take a half a cup, 20 Mylar bags, half, throw in your whatever you're going to do, your macaronis, your rices, your wheats, your quinoas, your freaking amaranths, right, your millet, whatever you want, you can, right, and your vegetables and your seasoning, okay, and you make your own, easy. And then to top it off, open up a can of home canned chicken, cook that off to the side, and then just incorporate it into the meal along with a few other maybe fresh vegetables. You'll have a big plate of food. Oh yeah, big plate of food, and it will be good food. So I'm glad I did this video, and I will. I'm not going to order it right now because I don't need it right now, but I'm definitely going to order it. Okay, so we're going to order probably 2 cans of chicken because we're going to use up a little bit of what we got first, right? This is my next hoarding project. Okay, I'm already planning to hoard freeze-dried chicken now. And then I wanted to see what the grilled one was. So let's look at the grilled chicken. So we get 2 cans of chicken. That's like $250 by time maybe shipping and no shipping, I don't know. But it's under $250 anyway. That's 40 meals, right? 110. What's the difference? Because I always go for the higher calorie. I liked it better when I was looking through the lens of this. I could see. I can't see very well with what I'm looking at right now. But we'll see if I can see. 23 servings per container at 110. And what is it? Grilled chicken. It just says grilled chicken. So anyway, we'll try that. And then I want beef. So let's see if we can find beef. Because buying these things, like looking for things with beef in the grocery stores, like beef broth or sidekicks with beef, good luck. And even then, it's basically beef fat. It isn't really, I don't think, freeze-dried beef chunks or freeze-dried chicken. So if you were to do it the way I'm doing it, or thinking to do it, then you would increase the calorie count and the nutritional count per bag as you make them. And just with the way the economy is going and the way the world is going, so you can do ground beef. Let's just see what we got. So we've got ground beef, I want in bulk. I have to, these are Okay, yeah, we want them in cans. Nutri-Store freeze-dried ground beef, okay, $115. Mountain House beef stroganoff. Now, I don't want that. I just want the meat. That's all I want. Okay, so dried diced beet, $135. Okay, so let's look at that one. So we'll look at that one. And what's the calorie count and the serving? Okay. Oh, you can do that. So half a cup, there's 20 servings at 130 calories per serving. So, what was it, 250, another 150, we'll just round it off, right? So that's 3, 4. So for $400, I can get 3 cans of dehydrated meat with 2 of them chicken, 1 of them beef, and that will get me 63 meals at a half a cup per pouch that I create at home with the things that I already have. Outside of, I might have to buy some more Mylar bags, just the right size, right? Because, you know, why not?